Hi there, and welcome to the latest edition of SecondsOut ReFLEXions. I'm Danny Flexen, here every Monday 4:30 p.m. to talk about the boxing action of the weekend just gone. But unless you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks, you'll know that there isn't a lot of boxing action to talk about this weekend, and probably for the foreseeable future with the impact of coronavirus. COVID-19 is not just tearing through the populace, it's also tearing through the boxing schedule, unfortunately. We've just heard last night, in fact, that the European Olympic qualifying event taking place at the Copper Box at the moment is now, from today onwards, going to be behind closed doors. So we've got 2 days with spectators in and a semblance of home advantage, perhaps, for the GB boxers. That has now been wiped out, much like the immune system of a lot of people in this country at the moment. Don't mean to laugh about it. Obviously, people are dying, but it's just a shame the impact it's having on live sport across the country. What I would say is that none of the major professional shows have been cancelled as yet, or called to be behind closed doors. Just keep an eye, especially if you've bought tickets, see what's going on. The next big one we're looking at, I guess, is March 28th at the O2, headlined by David Avanesian against Josh Kelly. There's been no official announcement on anything changing about that as yet, but that's the next one to look out for. The week after that, there's a big show in Newcastle. And the week after that, of course, is April 11th, Daniel Dubois against Joe Joyce. Now, Frank Warren put out a statement last week saying that that fight's not in jeopardy. And that's certainly true as things stand, but obviously everything at the moment is subject to change. So do keep an eye on events as they unfold. Obviously, not just your personal safety, which is obviously incredibly important, but also if you have got tickets for an event, it's worth keeping an eye on seeing what the policies are if these shows do not go ahead. Not only that, it's a bit of a paucity of subjects to write about and to video about at the moment, with boxing going into semi-slumber as a result of the epidemic, or pandemic, we have to call it now. So we did see a story break over the weekend in the Mail on Sunday about Tyson Fury's long ago failed drug test with UCAD. Something we haven't really heard a lot about. Fury's just had his 3-part documentary on ITV, incredibly well received, and the triumphant rematch victory over Deontay Wilder. He seems to be flavour of the month. Public have never been more behind him than they are now. But the Mail on Sunday apparently seemed keen to redress that balance with the story that broke over the weekend that a farmer, Martin Carefoot, I believe his name is, he claims that when he told UCAD back in 2015 that he supplied Fury and his cousin Huey with meat from a wild boar, which Fury has always claimed was the reason for his failed test for nandrolone. The farmer now is retracting that story. He says he only agreed to say that because he was offered a certain amount of money to do so, and having not received the money, allegedly, he's now taking that story back and insisting he's never even kept wild boar on his farm, never mind supplied the meat to any athletes. You have to kind of read the story and make up your own mind. UCAD are duty bound to investigate it, although it's not expected that Fury is going to face any further penalty after the backdated suspension he has already gone through. I'm a big Fury fan. I think everyone out there knows that. So this isn't going to be entirely impartial, I suppose, although I'll do my best. What I would say is, if you're the farmer in question, it's been 5 years now. Why would you not have said something earlier? That's my biggest kind of problem with the story. Yeah, it might be that he kept waiting to get paid, and he says in the story that a number of times, he was told, he was reassured that the money was on the way, and promises kept getting broken. But you wouldn't wait 5 years, I don't think. It's a long time. And after the first kind of year or two, you'd start to doubt the promises, wouldn't you? So 5 years down the line, he's then decided to change his story. And it's come not long after that documentary was on. It's come not long after Fury's triumph over Wilder. The third fight's going to be announced soon, I believe, for July as well. The timing of it raises a certain amount of suspicion as well. There was plenty of other opportunities to stick the boot into Fury, but doing it when he appears at a new apex of his career seems like great timing, not just for the newspaper, and we have to believe they've taken this claim from the farmer in good faith, but from the guy himself. He's seen Fury getting all this popularity. Maybe he's seen an opportunity there. We don't know what his motivation is. He could well be telling the truth. We don't know for sure. But the thing is that he's already lied to UKAD previously. So it's very hard now to believe what he's saying. I know Bob Arum said that famous quote, didn't he? He's now Fury's co-promoter, funnily enough. But he said that famous quote, yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth. And that's what the farmer, Carefoot's got to rely on, is that, he's admitted, or he claims now, that he's lied in the past, but he's asking us to believe him now. Presumably he's been paid for his story. I haven't seen any information on that or how much it might have been. But again, that pulls things into question. Why not go directly to UKAD instead of the story sparking them into action? We all know that UKAD were nearly bankrupted from the first Fury investigation. Do they really want to delve into these murky waters again, especially with perhaps even less chance of a successful outcome on their part? They, as I say, are duty bound to investigate. But as Frank Warren, Fury's UK promoter, came out yesterday and said in a statement, he thinks it's silly season with the dearth of sporting stories to write about that they've come out with this at this time. He refutes the allegations completely. He understands and accepts that UKAD will investigate, but he believes that Fury will because obviously he had the backdated suspension, will this time be cleared of any further wrongdoing. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. But the fact that that's the biggest story coming out of boxing at the moment over the weekend just underlines how scarce big or high level action is. In the US, obviously they've cancelled a number of events. Top Rank cancelled their 2 events around St. Patrick's Day in New York after originally deciding they'd be behind closed doors. They then cancelled them outright. And we're seeing that across the globe with various other sports as well. The UK obviously has a different coronavirus strategy to many of the other countries that have suffered as a result of the pandemic, and we'll see if that changes and adapts as we go forward and as the stats change. But as it stands right now, the European Olympic qualifying tournament will proceed behind closed doors until its conclusion, we hope. And any professional boxing events, high level, just keep an eye on the boxing news. We'll obviously be the first to tell you, either on this channel or on SecondsOut.com, if anything changes. But right now we have to plan as if all the events are going to go ahead. As always, I appreciate your time. Any comments you've got on how the pandemic affects boxing or on the Fury farmer story, try and keep them, liably sensitive if you like, and we'll reply to some of the better ones. I'll be back Thursday, all being well, even if I have to self-isolate. I've filmed these from my front room anyway. I'll be back Thursday, 4:30 p.m. for FLEXions. That one actually may be on the road because I'm still hoping to attend the Copper Box qualifying tournament on Thursday because there's a number of Brits on that day who could qualify for the Olympics. And then I'll be back Monday next week for the next ReFLEXions, 4:30 p.m. Really appreciate your time, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.